Hey, how's it going on, guys? It's Tekosor, and in today's benchmark video, I'd like to dedicate it to showing the performance of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 on the Ally X while combining all the previous tweaks we've done thus far, starting with tightening the memory timings, then elevating the TDP higher than 30 watt to an up to 50 watt, and finally optimizing the GPU clock manually for higher and more consistent performance. So in case you want to apply them, be sure to check out the recommended videos. Before getting started with the benchmark, I'll talk about my setup details. I've tightened the memory timings by using the smokeless BIOS tool and also used it to unlock the max TDP to 50 watt while configuring it in Windows by using the universal x86 tuning utility tool to ensure consistent high power set in both BIOS and OS. Again, by using the universal x86 tuning utility, I manually set the GPU clock to 2575 MHz, which in the last video proved to be the best manual GPU clock. Both BIOS and GPU driver are updated through Armory Crate to their latest versions. And still in Armory Crate, the power profile is set to custom with all power limits at 30 watt and max fan speed. So in this setup, you don't need to uninstall Armory Crate. I'll also be comparing performance with CPU boost on versus off to see if we can potentially use the higher GPU clock while not consuming as much power and to reduce heat. VRAM is set to 8GB, which is the default for the Ally X. All the Radeon GPU features, such as AFMF, are disabled to check raw performance. The Windows version is 11.24H2 with all the latest updates. In-game settings, resolution is set at 900p with relatively low graphics settings to avoid as much as possible hardware bottlenecking. Alright, now let's get on to benchmark. Starting first with 20 watt, we can see immediately that tuning the GPU clock to 2575 MHz with either CPU boost on or off has significantly reduced performance to an unplayable level because the high GPU clock is taking up the most of the power budget, leaving other components like CPU and memory with little power. Our best result instead at 20 watt is with tight timings, but still performance is pretty similar when we have timing set to auto. Switching to 30 watt, we again see that tuning the GPU clock to 2575 MHz is still not a good idea. When we have CPU boost on, it's worse than off. Our base setup here again is the auto GPU clock with boost on and tight memory timings. Still at 35 watt, setting the GPU clock to manual 2575 MHz isn't good idea as well, as it still worsens performance. Other components are still unable to get proper power with the GPU clock set that high. Our base setup here at 35 watt is with tight timings with CPU boost on. Moving on to 40 watt, we start to lose less performance with the GPU clock set to 2575 MHz, especially when we have CPU boost off, which saves a bit of power. But still, our base setup is tight timings, CPU boost on, and GPU clock set on auto. At 45 watt, things change dramatically. This time, setting the GPU clock to 2575 MHz with tight timings and CPU boost off gives the best result, reaching an average of 77 FPS. Finally, at 50 watt with tight memory timings, GPU clock at 2575 MHz and CPU boost on, we have all the power to maximize performance, achieving a 77.8 average FPS compared to 75.6 with 50 watt, auto memory timing set, auto GPU clock, and CPU boost on. So in this way, we gained about a pure 2 FPS on average. In conclusion, from 30 watt with all settings on auto to 50 watt with tight memory timings, GPU clock at 2575 MHz, and CPU boost on, we gained around 6 FPS on average. Of course, the difference is pretty negligible and isn't a big leap, but we can understand that this game is already bottlenecking components enough, not like other games we tried, such as Counter-Strike 2, where we have seen larger gains from same performance tweak. I think for daily use you could also try TDP such as 35 to 40 watt with CPU boost off, tight memory timings, and manual GPU clock set to something like 2400 to 2500 MHz, which should require less power for GPU. In the meanwhile, I'll keep looking for ways to improve performance for handhelds, so please make sure to subscribe to the channel, let me know what you think, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.